In this video, we'll talk about social networks, their evolution in recent years. How can they become a means of harassment and how it influences our decisions every day? To begin with, social networks is currently a medium that helps us to have contact with people we are far from us and to chat with them regardless of distance. Social networks have evolved during the last 2 decades. For example, in the year 2004, Facebook was created that would be used mainly by students of Harvard University, and today it is one of the largest social networks in the world, since it has more of 2 billion users. Thanks to the fast Facebook grew so fast, it allowed it to be other of the most used social networks in the world, such as Instagram and Facebook and WhatsApp.
Well, I talk about the influence of social networks on our decisions. So, the social networks influence our lives all the time because they are part of our daily routine. Since we wake up and until go to sleep, we spend a lot of time browsing our social networks, observing others uploading and sharing relevant content, such as news or publication with high impact information. Influence us to do the same. That's why all the content that we observe in social networks affects the way we make the decisions. Since, for example, a news page on Facebook uploads a note about the increase in COVID 19 infections in a specific area, and many of our friends have shared in by reading that it is true. What we do is avoid going through that area and avoid approaching people who live in that area. On the other hand, the famous fake news complete certain paper on the way we see a lot of topics. If we are not aware and know to release which one is real or fake. Those ones may be shared by friends who were not aware at the time they read them. And if you detect fake news, you should warn your friends or relatives to erase it quickly. The group with the most influence on social networks are teenagers, because they want to be accepted by others, so they will share information that their friends publish and they will do the change on trend. According to El Mundo 2019, it mentions some measures to avoid the bad influence of social networks, which are the following. First point, balance between social interaction and social networks. Second point, disable notification. Third point, family activities with the family. Fourth point, measure the limits of use of social networks. That is why it is important that we recognize that spending a lot of time on social networks affects us psychologically, since we can have stress and anxiety about fake news or excess information. For example, the excess of information that was at the beginning of the pandemic. Personality, all the information that was shared on social networks, on the radio, and on television caused me a lot of fear, stress, and anxiety in case I was infected or my family was infected. In the end, I made a decision to stay away from the news and not learn more about it. That is why it is important. That is why it is very important that we spend time with our friends and family and parties or meetings. In this way, the negative part produced by the excess of social networks is reduced.
Many times, social networks stop being a means of communication to become anxiety networks that oppress, cause problems of low self-esteem and anxiety in younger users. Adversity and the mega majority of care surrounding a close friends and necessary to get the best photos and have a large following. This insecurity makes you unable to be yourself and live a fantasy when you only demand yourself and hold yourself. The networks make your body goals reachable to the filters and edits that makes us believe that we can get to bodies, skin tones or other characteristics in real life. Our body does not define the type of person we are. Having everything in social networks absolutely nothing for your real life. Nobody is perfect and that's fine.
The necessity of followers created by the social pressure and the undeveloped anxiety for the social networks sometimes make the youngest users take desperate decisions, like adding strangers to your profile and showing them more information than you should share with. Out there are a lot of people with bad intentions waiting for you to make a mistake with your information so they can use it on their own benefit, threatening you about your family or your own security. These people play with your emotional behavior and starting with a friendly chat at the right moment. When you show you're going through an emotional breakdown, then you're highly vulnerable to a stranger world. To avoid these situations, analyze who you're dealing with before you give them information about a bit more personal about yourself. Share your experience with someone you can trust a lot before making an important decision and care about your mental health before getting her into social networks.
As we know, social network has influenced our daily routine and has become a very easy to use and accessible means communication. Social network is becoming more popular every day and more people use them. But not everything is good as more and more danger are being exposed to such as usurpation of identity, extortion, hacking, and we often share information that sometimes jeopardize our integrity and security, opening doors to risks such as kidnapping, extortion, or intimidation. In my opinion, it is not bad to use social network because we can be in contact with people around you, but we need to take security measures and not put use at risk. We can be alert and secure by putting our profile private, not accepting requests from strangers, blocking people with bad intentions, and always being alert.